So I think you had your kick of caffeine, and I think you'll be a little more awake for the cloud session. So I'll start with a question like, how many of you in this room have used any of cloud services as a consumer?
Yeah.
So just 50%. So that means that 50% of the audience have never used a Hotmail or Yahoo. Okay. So I think cloud is, we look at cloud as something new, but I think we as a consumer have always been using cloud in one form or the other over the years now. I think what myself and Shanthi would be spending some time with you is talking about cloud as an end consumer we all know, but what it means from an enterprise perspective, because they are still struggling to understand what to do with cloud, how to adopt cloud. So what we are going to talk is like we'll spend some time on the cloud strategy, exactly that what exactly enterprises are doing today to adopt cloud, and then we'll do a deep dive on software as a service as one specific area. Though cloud from a scenario perspective and from a scope perspective is much bigger, but today we will keep it to software as a service, and we'll try to see that from an Accenture software perspective or as a software product perspective, how exactly cloud plays. So I think many of you would have seen this particular hype cycle, which is the famous Gartner hype cycle. The reason I put that particular slide out there is that there are a couple of technologies which are very mature, then there are a couple of cloud technology, which are still in fancy or what we call it as a hype thing. As you see, things like software as a service is a little bit more mature and it is more mainstream right now. Virtualization as a technology is pretty mainstream. Infrastructure as a service, I think many organizations today actually use those services. And then if you see mail, I think cloud-based mail service has been the most popular one, and we all are end consumer for these kind of services. So this actually gives you a kind of a litmus test saying that which technology, where exactly it is from a maturity point of view, which are the technologies which enterprises are already starting to use, and all those are the things. It gives you that picture. Now coming to more that how exactly the market is growing. If you see from 2011, the prediction is we'll have around close to $28 billion worth of market, and it is going to sort of increase all the way up to 72 to 73 billion. So almost threefold increase in the market. And if you see the kind of split for different cloud services across application development and deployment, which is basically on the platform side, system infrastructure, server, storage, almost all the areas you will see that cloud is pretty much is growing in almost all the areas. Okay, so what does this mean from a software product perspective, or how exactly software vendors are adopting cloud technology is what we will be looking into it from a trend perspective later. If you see from this particular chart, public cloud adoption is still not that prevalent. It is still slowly, the adoption is happening and all. But it is something which is going to grow exponentially over the next few years. And what's actually emerging is that it is never going to be a fully cloud landscape. It is going to be a heterogeneous landscape. You will have on-premise systems, on-premise application, on-premise portfolio, which has to be integrated with your cloud-based model. And so there will be a combination of public, private, on-premise. So that is what is going to be the reality over the next few years. So now coming to very specifically to what exactly happening in the software products scenario. If you see, like when Jim was talking about independent software vendors and all. So if you see traditionally the software license model, the revenues are actually coming down. So it's slowly coming down. So what you need to when I say that the traditional software license model is that when you actually deploy, you buy a license, you deploy it within your premise, it gets implemented, and a software vendor is going to support the outsourcing, all those things. So slowly that kind of a revenue is actually coming down quarter on quarter. So what's happening is that because of this particular trend, so exactly but most of the enterprises still use software Only thing is like the pattern in which they use this software is slowly changing. So it is becoming more service based. So rather than you owning the software, you actually maintaining the software, you're slowly starting to procure these services from a cloud. So what's happening is that workload once addressed by the traditional model is changing now. It's moving to a cloud services model. And the other thing what's happening in the public cloud service model is that almost every player is getting into this particular space. Whether it's a telecom company is today is a cloud service provider. Software vendors are today's cloud providers, whether it's SAP, Oracle, Microsoft. We are getting into it. Accenture, we traditionally are a consulting and outsourcing and technology company. We are also providing some of the services over the cloud. So that's the kind of a ecosystem which is actually getting built, which is an infusion of a lot of different players. So traditional hardware providers, they are getting onto cloud, coming with the infrastructure as a service kind of a service. So it's a very, very interesting space out there that who all are becoming a cloud service provider. Like today, Amazon came traditionally from a very, very retail background, and today if you see they are the major, I don't know how many of you are there for any of the cloud providers. Anybody in this room from a cloud service provider? That's good to see, few people. Anybody who's working on cloud technologies today? Okay, so that's fair amount of, I think, expertise in this room we have. So I will not try to do a preach to the preacher kind of a thing. So, but during the panel discussion, I think we'll have some healthy discussion out there. Now, coming to what's happening from a software vendor perspective today is that if you see Microsoft has announced the availability of Office 365 across 22 countries. So this is basically Office is their flagship product. And it has been deployed across all our desktops, laptops as in a traditional software model. But they are offering this over cloud. So that's what is the future. That's what is the future for many of the software products, which either it touches the end consumers like us or it is an enterprise customer. So that's what is slowly changing. SAP is looking at a $2 billion kind of a market for just cloud services. And SAP has been a traditional enterprise package software vendor. Then coming to Oracle. Oracle is starting to offer many of its traditional software products or enterprise software over the cloud. So that's what's happening. And Accenture itself, we have our Accenture claims, which Jim was talking earlier, is in a cloud model. So if you see that's where the market is slowly moving. So this is more from a trend perspective. What I'm going to touch upon today is that, but how exactly an enterprise decides that, how do I adopt cloud? So how much of cloud is good for me? And what should be my journey? What are the changes I need to bring within my ecosystem to adopt cloud? Those are some of the things. If you see today, so this is a typical model where you have, from an end consumer perspective, you have a service catalog from where you're going to choose a cloud service, you're going to start using a cloud service, then you have orchestration, provisioning, and your management services, and down you have where it will integrate into on-premise, your internal private cloud, external private cloud, and public cloud. So the service actually can come from any of these places. So your cloud service can come either from on-premise, internal, private or external private cloud, or public cloud. So this is what is going to be the reality for next many years, where the services can come from different things. So this adds to a lot of the complexity, and also I'll talk to you in a few minutes on that also. I think this is, we're talking about more from a value perspective, and if you see, so this is where actually, this is the highest value. If you move toward a software as a service kind of a model, that's where the maximum value actually comes, because almost every stack, every component of your stack is actually, you are actually procuring it from a cloud service vendor. So you are not managing it. Then comes platform as a system, then comes your infrastructure as a service. If you see the maximum adoption of cloud services in SaaS and in IaaS space. The other space which is slowly gaining popularity is platform as a service, which will still, I think, you have few services available, but it's still not that mature compared to SaaS and infrastructure as a service. And from a software product perspective, I think this is the model which most of the software vendors are taking today. They are moving to a SaaS kind of a model. And they're also moving to a more hosted model. That's where they may go towards an infrastructure as a service provider, deploy their software onto it, and then provide it to their end consumers. So that's like, suppose you may use an infrastructure as a service from Amazon, Google, or NTT, or any of them. So you put your software onto that and provide it to your end consumers or end customers. So that's the thing. Now I think most of you in this room must be knowing that what are the advantages of cloud and all. I just briefly touch upon it. So if you see in the current scenario, fixed cost, it's very complicated, cumbersome, very high capital intensive, high maintenance and run costs. So your CapEx, OpEx, both of them are very high. In your traditional model, a lot of security issues. So then the business agility is not there. If you want to come out with a product soon to the market, then it's not there. And then many times the technology is very outdated, because when we use in enterprise, our upgrades cycles are less, and you want to move to the new states. There's a lot of issues there. So the technology gets outdated very soon when it is within an enterprise. The moment you move towards a cloud model, it's more of a pay-per-drink or a pay-per-use subscription kind of a model. So you pay for what you actually consume. That's kind of a model what you move towards. More responsive, less capital intensive, lower maintenance costs. So your OpEx actually comes down to a large extent. It's statistics says around 40% plus. Security is much more better in cloud environment compared to in a non-cloud environment. It's business agility is there because your time to market is less when you move, because you focus more on your core, and on non-core you actually move on to some cloud service provider. And definitely you get access to the latest technology. That's what happens when you actually move to a cloud, because if you just look at what kind of a data center, what an Amazon or Google can build, none of the individual enterprises can ever build that kind of an architecture, that kind of a resilient architecture. You cannot build actually individual enterprises, but at the same time what Google or Amazon or Microsoft can build is much more resilient, much more latest technology and all. So you get basically advantage of the scale there when you move to a cloud vendor. So finally what it means as an enterprise is like you become more agile because of all these things. Now how exactly you choose that what are my application or infrastructure element needs to move to cloud, and what are the ones which you cannot move. So that's where comes the cloud strategy part. So that's where you define. So this is one simple chart which says that so on one axis you have value to the enterprise, and on the other axis you have ease of implementation. So this is one way of looking at before you take a decision or you start to cherry pick an application or a portfolio element to move to a cloud. You see that, okay, batch and data intensive applications are the ones which can easily be moved to cloud because its value is high. At the same time, your ease is, it's much more easy to move. So there can be another dimension. You can also look at cost versus risk. What is the cost involved? What is the risk of moving? At the same time, if you look at some of the legacy applications, I think that's much more difficult. Mainframe, especially mainframe, it's difficult to move and the value may be less, and the kind of effort which will go will be very high. So these are some of the decision what we take. So from an Accenture software perspective, when we actually look at what is the best model for you to get services from our side, we actually look at is like whether a SaaS kind of a model is better for you or it's an on-premise model is better for you, because there are various considerations which goes. If for on-premise, if security is a big thing, suppose you really want to make sure that your data security is the highest priority and you need controls, then we'll say that it's a private cloud model is much better for you. So on-premise private cloud. On the other hand, if these are not your concerns, then the public cloud model is much better for you. So we actually take the decision, we educate you, we work with you to actually see that what is the best cloud model you can adopt when you take a software product from us and how exactly it gets implemented or deployed into your enterprise. Thank you. So when we look at a cloud from a strategy perspective, it's just not about technology. It's about a lot more things than technology. So you really need to look at things like governance, how exactly the governance happens when you actually move to cloud. Because what happens is like you may have multiple model. You have your on-premise model, you have some of the services coming from a cloud service vendor, and some of the services may be coming from your outsourced vendor. So you have a very complicated landscape once you have. So how exactly the governance happen? So how exactly your invoicing happens? There are a lot of different things which are non-technology but more on the business side from a business model perspective. So those are the things which you really need to consider. IT organization. So how exactly the IT, because a lot of the roles will become redundant. Because a lot of the roles when you move to a cloud model become redundant. You don't need a lot of developers. You don't need a lot of folks with development kind of skills, but you need more architecture skills. So, and you will need more business relationship management kind of skills when you move to a cloud. So from an organization perspective, we actually help that how exactly an organization, IT organization look when you move to a cloud. So those are the things what we look at. Enterprise architecture. Enterprise architecture actually goes through a change. What kind of an architecture standards you are going to deploy within anything. So those are the things which you have to look at it from a cloud adoption perspective. Then ecosystem partners. So there will be few selected cloud service vendors which you want to work with, few of them which are your preferred vendors. All those things you actually start to look into it. Then comes what are your SaaS solution? Then you will look like, do you want to re-platform some of your legacy application onto a cloud? Those are things you look in. And then how exactly you will be integrating services from on-premise cloud services. Integration is a big thing because when you move to a cloud, I think one of the things which are still not, so what we always been talking about system integration. So in a cloud ecosystem, what you move away from a system integration to a concept called service integration. So we've been talking about system integration, now you start to think about service integration. So that's a new thing. So you're not just integrating systems now, you integrate services because systems you don't see systems today because these are services what you get access to. So service integration is a new concept which is there, which will become more and more prevalent. So that's where so these are things what you consider holistically from a cloud strategy perspective. So it's just not that you go take some services from a cloud vendor and that's about it. So there are a lot more things which has to happen. You need to have a cloud enabling framework. The enterprise has to be ready for moving on to cloud. So I'll just briefly touch upon, we have a cloud framework, Accenture's own cloud framework where we have capability in almost every area. So some of you folks who are already sort of introduced to cloud and you're working in cloud area, so you would actually able to relate to it that we are actually present in almost every area, whether it is from a consulting point of view, where we are doing a strategy or SaaS implementations. Shanthi is going to talk to you a little bit more on SaaS side, or a platform or your data center side. So all of them we cover. Then and from other thing like Accenture software as a service, like that's what this whole session is all about. Then BPO as a service, then a lot of very strong alliances we have with almost every cloud provider out there, whether it's Google, Microsoft, Cisco, everyone we have very strong alliance and very strong industry capability because that's finally important because most of these cloud services are by industry, by domain and all. Then security. Security is another area, so we have a whole gamut of capability around security. So what exactly security means from a cloud perspective. And then we have a cloud center of excellence. We have a cloud center of excellence here in Bangalore where we touch upon every aspect out here. And we have a lot of demo capabilities out there and a lot of customers come there and to see live that how exactly on a cloud where with a SaaS, PaaS, IaaS or strategy perspective, how exactly we help our customers and how they can get maximum value out of cloud. Then from a strategy perspective, I'll just give a very quick glimpse about, so we have our own cloud enterprise architecture, which we use to consult our customers with. Then we have a cloud opportunity assessment tool, which actually helps you to assess that what is the best deployment model from a cloud perspective you have, whether you should go to towards the IaaS, PaaS, what is the mix you should have, what is the private cloud versus public cloud mix you should have, how much should remain on-premise. All those things we do, so that is, we predominantly use some of these assets, what I'm talking about, cloud opportunity assessment or cloud enterprise architecture. So from a content perspective, this is what I wanted to share with you. I'll hand it over to Shanthi. She is going to do a deep dive on software as a service, and later during the day, we have a good amount of time during the panel discussion to actually brainstorm on some of these technology and areas.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Welcome again. I get to do some cool stuff because software as a service is probably the most hip and happening in the cloud space, and we develop a lot of very innovative solutions here, and so it's sort of changed the way we do client work. And today what I thought I'll do is do a quick recap of what is software as a service for some of you who've probably not really worked on this technology area but heard a lot and very confusing messages on when do you call something software as a service. I'll also spend a little time talking about what our clients are doing and the way they're adopting some of these offerings, and try to map it to the opportunities where you can build new solutions, and also the types of innovation that is possible. So to begin with, just a recap, cloud we predominantly look at in 4 layers. And software as a service is more of the application layer, where you have very leading players like Salesforce.com or Workday in the HR space. Now SAP bought SuccessFactors, a whole gamut of very, very niche area with specialized players giving you out-of-the-box best-of-breed functionality. So when I say software as a service, what changes from the traditional way of doing a hosted or managed service to a SaaS implementation is, if you just lift a product, put it on someone's cloud, and give it to your client as in a pay by the drink kind of model, is that SaaS? Technically, yes. We do have many such offerings. A lot of them have taken away some amount of the complexity from the client's environment, and they're signing up to manage the IT services in a more efficient manner. But the competitiveness or the economy of scale is really realized, and you're able to do things much faster, better, do systematic upgrades without impact to business, only when you do it in a multi-tenancy kind of a model, where you're able to, you're just not lifting and putting it on someone's cloud, but internally you could use anybody's cloud. But if your product is built on a multi-tenancy architecture where one instance runs for multiple clients, but you're still able to manage the privacy requirements for each client. The data is not visible to other clients, but then they are still running one single instance of the software. That makes the cost of upgrades extremely reasonable for the vendor who's providing these services, and at the same time they can pass it on to the client, and that makes it extremely attractive for the client as well to sign up for a model like this. Plus, whether you are a small business or you're an enterprise scale business, you get the best of breed implementation in this kind of a model, right? So very simple example, Salesforce.com has, say, one-man show. You could be an NGO, and you can log in and create a user ID password for yourself and run your business on their instance. And the same functionality could be used by some of your Fortune 100 clients, right? So that's the power of moving to a SaaS-based model and to a multi-tenancy architecture. So a quick look at the ecosystem. So I just picked a list of the clients that we work with extensively. And from Accenture's perspective, it's extremely strategic for us to be seen in this space and be a leader and shape this business. So we have a long-standing relationship with the leaders here like Salesforce.com, SAP, NetSuite, Workday, Microsoft, Google, Eloqua. So a number of these are evolving as we are talking. There is a lot of market consolidation. They're adding new functionality. They're transforming some of their offerings to a SaaS-based model as well. And we've got very strong partnership with them, and we do joint product development as well with some of them. So that's one area where when I talk about product development, we're extending some of the functionality along with some of our partners too. Now, a quick look at how are clients getting into the SaaS space. right? So there are 4 quadrants that we sort of look at commonly, where if you take the x-axis, it is app-centric versus process-centric approach, and take the y-axis, it is experimentation versus standardization approach. Now, if you are starting on a journey like this, and Sanjeev just spent some time talking about cloud adoption, similarly in case of SaaS adoption, you could do very tactical implementations, experiment, see how it works, and then move your larger initiative forward. So what does that help? So you don't have to do a big strategy analysis and then decide how to go forward. You can actually take 10 licenses, put a small application on the cloud, get your business users to see what it is, ask them, understand what is really required, refine, and then move the rest of your implementation onto the cloud. Now, traditionally, you might have had to still buy the license, decide which license, which product, put some investment in infrastructure, get an SI to come and do the development, and by the time you put it in front of business, it's probably 2 quarters away, right? Whereas now, you can do it like a pilot proof of concept, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's in production. And so that's one part. And then we see a lot of clients also buying out-of-the-box, best-of-breed implementations, say Salesforce.com, right? You move your CRM application onto one of the most popular Microsoft Dynamics or Salesforce.com kind of an implementation. That's sort of plug and play. What we also see them doing is move towards more process-centric way of implementation. You look at your as-is process, to-be processy, which is the best of breed in that space, and then pick the right kind of product and approach. Or iterative or transformation. When I talk about transformation, there are many clients who are looking at their entire landscape. They might have done a lot of mergers and acquisitions. They have widespread of product offerings in their IT portfolio, and they want to consolidate. So cloud and SaaS are right on top of their agenda. I've not seen too many of them not evaluating cloud or SaaS at all. So things like 20 years of legacy applications being now reevaluated, and multiple instances of ERP systems you want to consolidate. Those are all the best business cases for adopting SaaS technologies as well. So interestingly, we see clients not just taking 1 or 2 of these options, but most clients have a combination of, in some areas, they might do tactical implementations, then move forward to doing a more plug-and-play approach. In some areas, they have already done a transformation, and they come back and do experimentation in some of the cases. And the value of SaaS is you can add something incrementally to your enterprise architecture, get a buy-in, see the benefit, all within a very short time frame, 1 or 2 quarters. And that's also the reason why some of these trends take a long time before a lot of analysts think, evaluate, say, where is it in the hype curve? Can we go there? Should we go there? You don't see that kind of a discussion among clients here, because even as skeptics are wondering, a lot of them have put things into production, and if they haven't, their competition has. So the market is so agile that they are constantly experimenting and moving towards in different areas as well, and there is incremental adoption that is seen. One quick example, I've given you a lot of messages around what's happening, but the power of an implementation like this is we did moved a lot of Lotus Notes applications to a new platform for a leading conveyance chain in Japan. So Lawson is the 2nd largest chain, and you might want to read the message below, but it's about 5,000 subscribers, and the application was spread across in different offices, which is now moved to the cloud, all within a matter of 2 months, right? And so the stores use one single common application now, and consistent, no problem of upgrades. Even if there is new functionality to be added, it is available simultaneously to all their conveyance stores. So this kind of a possibility was not there many years ago, not even with some of the most sophisticated technologies. The solution itself is not unique here. The ability to do it at this pace is the power of a trend like this. Now, talking about trends, a couple of things that I thought I should touch upon, and then I'll again map it back to the opportunity for innovation. We see initially it started with some of them moving, some of the internal implementations like functionality onto the cloud. So traditionally, if you go back and look at the last 5 or 6 years, it has been more of the CRM space which gained momentum, your front office transformation which looked at packaged implementations, do you do it in-house versus cloud? So that was the early trend. But now you also see that clients are evaluating SaaS kind of an approach for combining a set of varied technologies and building solutions. So when I say that, it is a combination of your social networking capabilities, your mobile enablement, your platform that is now going onto the cloud. So if a lot of these vendors are, or rather the players in this market are not just giving you one offering, they're giving you a whole ecosystem and a platform that can do more than just give you, say, an ERP on the cloud. So there is, say, ERP, CRM, HR implementations, a platform if you want to build your own solutions. It is mobile enabled, it is out of the box. There is integration to your social media, which is, you can get real-time analytics. All of this is, so the players in this space are giving you like a whole platform as well. So that's one very important trend, because it really challenges in the way we look at solutioning something for a client. So if you got a bunch of CRM experts and said, look at the business problem and give a solution, in the past they looked at, this are the set of packaged implementations available, and these are the functionalities. I do a mapping for the functionality and I build a solution. But it's no longer that way. Now you have to think in terms of what is the business looking for, where are the problems, and does it mean you need to be able to respond to your, say in a B2C scenario, client, are you responding to your customers faster, or is the challenge around your campaigns not reaching them effectively? Is it about us not getting feedback quickly? So you look at those and then say, hey, actually you need a mobile-based implementation here. And you might somewhere else need to get the feedback from a social media. Say, for example, you're launching a new movie, and then you have to look at, while you're rolling out your campaigns, you also say, how can I get the sentiments and the reactions on day one? And build both of them together. So it's no longer just a CRM expert who looks at product functionality. It is also somebody who understands the power of social media mobility and a whole lot of other extremely specialized areas. But the best part is, a lot of these don't need very, very deep skills, because they come as out-of-the-box functionality to a large extent. Of course, not all of them are as mature in all the areas, but that's where we are heading. So the way you build software functionality is in a revolutionary phase, and the way we solution is also changing very, very drastically. The other part is consolidation. There are a lot of players in this space. You look at an ecosystem, because there are providers who give you a platform where anybody can come and build solutions. Again, another example, Salesforce.com has something called Appexchange, right? So you can log in and build your own unique solution. Or like in your, the Apple or the Android market. So how do you get small applications and widgets? Similarly, you can build solutions and put it there and either sell it or create awareness and then see what the reaction is and then make it a pay service. That kind of an option is now present. So that's again an immense opportunity for us as well to look at building some cross-industry and cross-technology solutions in this space. So there are 3 types of innovation that we can look at. One is the quick wins, where you're looking at clients' business problem and you want to build something that is right now available and maybe there are a few multiple clients who have similar challenges and you can benefit from that. These are usually delivery aids or something that helps you be more competitive, get better sales. So those are what I sort of bunched together and said quick wins. The other ones are slightly more medium term. Say, for example, you build a contract management tool on a particular platform. We have another example of a tax module that we built for a specific geography on SAP Business by Design. Now that helps us go to multiple clients in that business. Do we see a 5-year roadmap for that? Maybe not, because SAP will themselves come up with a module like that for not just one country, but the rest of the globe. So these are what we call as more short-term solutions, but they help our clients adopt some of these much faster, and it's a great place for us to play in as well. The others are the more differentiating solutions, which is where Accenture software company plays, and we can give our own SaaS-based offerings as well. And Jim covered a few examples in the morning. So whenever we build a new offering, we look at a SaaS-based model for sure. Again, I'll spend a couple of minutes on few of the key players and to give you a peek view into what they are doing. So when I say Salesforce.com, the approach now is their whole platform is built for a social enterprise. Your clients may or may not be playing in the social arena yet, but then the way forward is this becomes integrated, and in some form, a lot of the way you communicate with your customers, your source of market intelligence, all these are coming from multiple sources, and so it's a need for giving a more extended offering. And their vision is that they will give a lot of things that are innovative and out of the box. So I will not drain this slide, but like one quick example would be Radian 6. So again, going back to a media client, we built something for movie that was being launched, and you get real-time analytics with a product like this, and it really doesn't need much SI implementation effort because it is taking feed from all these Twitter, Facebook kind of solution, and this is all publicly available information. All it does is real-time analytics and feeds it into the rest of the package, and there you have you can tweak or you can decide what kind of ads to put or which geography has good reaction to a movie, what is happening. All this coming in the very first premiere of the show. So in the past, you would have had to put this in some database, do the analytics, and no matter how good you were, it was a couple of days later, or if not weeks and months later, that you would see the reaction. So another example of mobile. Now SAP has an HR implementation where your applications are available on your mobile. Now imagine if you are interviewing someone and you have to sit in front of your laptop and fill a form and then send it, but then you had too many people to interview and over a weekend somebody asked you to do one and you're somewhere outside. You have to go back home, fill the form, you didn't do it, somebody kept chasing you. I see a few smiles. So this kind of an application on your mobile where there is a simple set of questions that you say yes, no, and say go, no, go. You can go give the rest of the details later. So making your daily activities extremely simplified and being available on your cell phone is sort of the way forward for a lot of HR applications. Filling your timesheets, making a leave request, all this on your cell phone, right? So the HR world is changing, and so this is not, if you would say it is a mobile trend, it's not really a SaaS trend, technically speaking, but then the SaaS applications are adopting some of these trends extremely rapidly. Similarly, one more example is marrying analytics and your HR applications together. So the power of bringing some of the in-house, within the enterprise analytics, integrating it with your SaaS-based applications and giving real-time dashboards, views. You can do example, attrition analysis. You can do a global attrition analysis of what's happening in different geographies. All this in real time by just integrating a couple of applications. In the ERP space, one of the trends, we're not really seeing the SAPs and the Oracles going away, right? Because there are massive implementations, very rich functionality, extremely customized for different business houses. So we're not really seeing them going away. What we really see is in the adoption, there is a two-tier approach. It's very easy to get the rest of your partners and your subsidiaries on board. They don't need the kind of rich functionality that you have in-house. They just need some standard set of business processes so you can quickly onboard them for minimal cost. So that's one of the trends that we are seeing. And again, I already gave these examples of where is the opportunity for us, be it in terms of building the taxation or the contract management module I mentioned earlier. So just to summarize, what are we doing in this space? We believe that there is a need for being extremely agile, and there is a lot of functionality that is coming out of the box, and there is a lot of opportunity for clients to innovate, experiment, and be extremely competitive. So we need to do multiple things simultaneously here. You need to reskill your people, you need to be able to build unique and innovative solutions, give clients the ideas, and also at the same time have sort of elastic capacity to ramp up, ramp down on simultaneously on multiple skills. So again, an opportunity for us here to build certain industry-specific products and offerings so that we are not constantly reinventing the wheel, but innovation is very key for us to be able to be a leader in an extremely agile world. So what we have right now, so we have a factory kind of a model where we do a lot of work for multiple clients across multiple technologies, and the factory model is really tuned to ramp up, ramp down. We have a whole lot of industry-specific templates, and we have delivery toolkits, so we've revamped our methodology. So that's all on the delivery side. And like I mentioned earlier, from a product perspective, we are doing a lot of work in this space, and Accenture is providing a SaaS kind of a model to our clients. They are not the same, or there are varied types of models and that you can experiment with. But so we are also looking at this area for most of the products that we develop in-house and trying to bring the benefits of SaaS to our clients as well. So with that, I will be around to take questions later in the panel and look forward to an interactive session. Thank you.